Alright, here we have a Honda HRS216 lawnmower. I purchased this about 3 or 4 months ago, and when I was looking on YouTube for a review of some sort or to get a better idea of the product, I couldn't find anything. So this is my contribution, and thank you other YouTube users who reviewed other Honda lawnmowers, and particularly people who review purchases in general, to have one additional source of information when you're shopping. Anyhow, this is an extraordinarily basic mower. It is on the upper end of the price point for a push mower. It is not self-propelled, but I have to say, when I was searching for lawnmowers, the only gripes that I found consistently across Hondas as well as other brands was that the self-propelled mechanism would fail or require maintenance at some point. Some people may or may not have trouble with that depending on the grade of their lawn, but in this particular case I wanted something that was simple and that would last for a while and that I wouldn't have to tinker with. So that was the main reason that I picked this not self-propelled version. I believe it was retailing for $349 at Ace Hardware. Just a quick overview of key features. It comes with a fuel shutoff valve right here, which is pretty handy for if you're tipping it over to do any maintenance on the blades or under deck. I have an air filter assembly here that you can see. 6 height positions are available to adjust the wheels. So again, very rudimentary. They're not connected across the axle, so you have to adjust each individual wheel. The effort level is relatively low. It's not a big deal. I have had some lawnmowers in the past where it was a single lever that would raise or lower the entire mower, but in this particular case you get a little additional flexibility if you want to adjust wheels independently. It has a Honda GSV160 motor, which from my understanding is their consumer grade. They also have, I believe it's the GSX, which is a commercial grade mower. Front view. From the side. The only thing over here of any note, we have a muffler on the right, and this is the oil drain and fill, as this is a 4-stroke. There's no bagging or discharging capability on this. It is a mulching mower only, which suits me quite well, as I do not bag. As you can see from the rear flap, this is actually pretty sturdy. You can see it's relatively heavy. I've had much cheaper mowers where it's just a thin vinyl strip, and this is pretty substantial and flips down easily. You can fold the handles down over the actual unit. I wouldn't say it's necessarily a thing that you want to do every time that you use it, as it does take a little effort, but these do detach here, so you can pull these bars out and fold it forward for more compact storage. In terms of operation, you push it forward to choke it, pull the cord one time, and it is fired off on the first pull for me every time that I've used it. This is blade control here. I've rigged up a piece of wire to hold it in place sometimes when I'm running it dry for winter storage, so I don't have to stand there with my hand on the blade the whole time. This is not advised in the safety manual, but it's a lot more practical. The grip tape that you see here is about the only grump that I had about this mower, was that it came with a bare black bar, and it was a little slippery for me if my hands were sweating on a warm day, as well as it got hot in the sun. So what I did was I ordered some overgrip for tennis rackets from Amazon. I think it was $5 to $10 for a set of 3 wraps, and basically 1 wrap on this side, 1 wrap on this side, and I have an extra. And it's a much grippier surface, and it's more comfortable and kind of dampens the vibration. So if you're looking for little mods, that's something you could also do. In terms of other mods, the only other thing that I've added is this hour counter here on the back. It's approximately Honda red, but not quite. Anyhow, I believe that again was $5 to $10 on Amazon. Really, really simple. This wire basically just runs straight to the spark plug here, and keeps track of the actual hours of operation for the machine. So in terms of service intervals, those kinds of things, you can have a better idea of how much use your unit's actually getting. The blade setup on it is a single mulching blade currently. You can pick up an extra blade to stack on top of that and have the Honda twin cut system. I think they're about $15. I've got one of those, and I'll put it on when I have to tip it over and do an oil change after the first 5 hours here. The fuel shutoff will also be handy then. I was changing the oil on a pressure washer a little while ago that didn't have one of these, and the tank wasn't drained, and you could hear a pretty clear gurgle out of the carb as the fuel was flooding it, and it was a little harder to stop after, so that'll make life a lot easier. Overall, simple, clean. Hopefully it'll last for a while. I'm running ethanol-free gas in it that I can pick up at a local station, which is generally recommended from what I found if you're going to be keeping gas hanging around for long. The not a lot of frills, but the few features that are there, things like the gas cap, for example, has a very solid feel to it. I know it's not a big deal, but it's got a good rubber gasket. It doesn't leak when you tip it over, and this thing's pretty darn hefty for a part that doesn't necessarily have to be. So I consider that a relatively nice feature on a simple mower. I picked this up they're available at Home Depot. I got mine at Ace Hardware. I'm a fan of some of the smaller independently owned Ace Hardwares because I purchased this and it was fully assembled, ready to go. I hadn't used a gas lawnmower in a long time. We just moved recently, and they walked me through the how-tos on it and had everything ready to go, as opposed to a big box store where you got a box of parts and had to put everything together and figure it out yourself. Not that it's complicated, but I certainly appreciate the added level of service there. So I'll keep this brief, but that is a quick review. It's relatively quiet. I'll do a quick startup here in a bit and show you some mulching pictures as well. Okay, now for just a quick startup demo and also a shot close-up of some of the grass blades that the mulching blade leaves behind to give you an idea of what a single mulching blade from Honda will do. These are some of the pieces. Relatively small. Certainly fine by me. The other thing that I like about this, I'd seen on Consumer Reports that some of the mowers with larger rear wheels can be a challenge to turn, despite the marketing that they're easier to maneuver. This unit has slightly larger wheels overall, and I have to say it does a pretty good job in terms of maneuverability. And I have some mole activity in my backyard, and it's still pretty easy to get around, so I appreciate that feature. Anyhow, hope this review was helpful, and thank you very much for viewing. Bye-bye.